The grand hall of the alien palace gleamed like a crystal under the light of the twin suns. Columns of translucent metal reached high into the domed ceiling, reflecting the soft glow of floating energy orbs. Everywhere, alien attendants moved gracefully, their elongated limbs and iridescent skin shimmering as they prepared for the day's council. At the center of the hall, a massive machine hummed softly. It was the palace's central energy conduit, a device that powered the entire city and maintained the floating platforms and energy shields that protected the palace. Its design was unlike anything humans had ever seen: interlocking rings, floating crystals, and wires that seemed to pulse with life. Alien engineers hovered around it, checking readings and whispering to each other in a language full of clicks and melodic tones. Human engineer Alex Rains stood at the edge of the room, notebook in hand. He was far from home, standing on a planet light-years away, surrounded by a species whose technology was centuries beyond his own. Yet despite the awe-inspiring surroundings, he felt calm. Years of training, late nights fixing machinery and solving impossible problems had taught him one thing: every machine had a pattern. Every problem had a solution. He had been brought here as part of a new initiative. Humans were rare in the interstellar community, often underestimated by advanced alien civilizations. Alex's job was simple in theory: observe, assist, and learn. But today, his patience and skills would be tested in a way he could never have imagined. Suddenly, the hum of the energy conduit faltered. A low groan echoed through the hall. The floating crystals flickered and the soft light dimmed. Alarm signals began to flash, red lines cutting across the polished floor. The aliens froze. Some took a step back, their eyes widening in panic. A few scrambled to touch panels, attempting repairs with elegant precision, but nothing worked. And then, a voice boomed through the hall. It was the alien queen Zereth. Her presence was immense, a mix of authority and power that seemed to shake the very walls. Her voice carried a resonant force that made everyone stop in their tracks. "Who fixed this?" she demanded. The question was simple, but the silence that followed was deafening. The alien engineers looked at each other nervously. None dared answer. The Queen's voice was not just a sound. It was a statement of absolute power. Answering incorrectly could mean dishonor or worse. Alex's heart beat faster. He knew the danger, but he also knew the truth. He had seen the problem first, noticed the subtle misalignment in the conduit's energy rings that the aliens had missed. He had the knowledge to fix it, and so, taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. "I did," he said clearly, his voice steady despite the weight of the room's attention. A ripple of shock passed through the hall. Aliens gasped softly, their eyes widening at the audacity of a human speaking in the Queen's presence. Some whispered to each other, their clicks and melodic tones rising in a wave of astonishment. The Queen's many eyes, green, gold, and violet, fixed on him. Silence fell. Then slowly, she rose from her throne, her movements fluid and commanding. Every eye in the hall followed her. "You?" she said, her voice a low, vibrating hum. "A human." Alex nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty. I noticed a minor flaw in the conduit's alignment. I corrected it." For a moment, the Queen said nothing. She studied him, her gaze sharp and penetrating, as if trying to measure his very essence. The hall held its collective breath. Then, with a flick of her hand, she commanded, "Show me." Alex stepped toward the conduit. His hands moved over the controls with confidence. He explained in simple terms what he had done, how one of the energy rings had been slightly out of phase, causing the hum to falter and the lights to dim. He described how he adjusted the energy flow and realigned the crystal matrix. The aliens listened, some frowning, others whispering among themselves. To them, his words were strange, simple, almost crude compared to the complex terminology they were used to. Yet, as he demonstrated the adjustment, the conduit responded. Its hum returned to perfection. The crystals glowed steadily and the lights brightened. A low murmur ran through the hall. The Queen remained silent, watching every move, her posture commanding yet curious. Finally, she spoke. "You corrected what my engineers could not." Alex nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty. It was a small misalignment, but it caused a system-wide disruption. It needed a precise, immediate correction." The Queen tilted her head. She was known throughout her empire for her wisdom and for her ability to see the value in unexpected places. Humans are known for impulsive actions, she said, her tone almost a test. Yet you acted with precision and foresight. Why? Alex considered her question carefully. Because a machine, like a problem, waits for no one. Sometimes you have to act. You use what you know and you trust your judgment. For a moment the hall was silent again. Then the Queen's lips curved into what could almost be considered a smile. Interesting. A human who dares. Who thinks, who acts. Perhaps your kind is not as weak as some claim. Whispers spread among the aliens. Some were skeptical, but others looked at Alex with newfound respect. The Queen's reaction mattered more than any report or study. They trusted her judgment above all else. Alex stepped back, feeling the weight of their attention but also a sense of accomplishment. He had done what many would not dare. He had spoken when others stayed silent. He had acted when hesitation could have caused failure. Enough talk, the Queen said at last, her voice ringing through the hall. This conduit functions properly again. Let this be a lesson. Sometimes solutions come from where you least expect them. The aliens bowed slightly, their expressions a mix of awe and contemplation. Some glanced at Alex with reluctant admiration. He had proven that humans, though physically weaker and technologically simpler in some ways, could think and act in ways that even the most advanced species might not anticipate. As the council resumed, Alex remained near the conduit, quietly observing. He knew this moment was significant, not just for him but for humanity's place in this alien empire. He had shown that humans could be bold, resourceful, and unafraid to step forward when others faltered. Later, as the Queen left the hall, her eyes briefly met his again. There was a spark of curiosity there, a question unspoken. Perhaps she would test him further. Perhaps she would see what humans could truly do when given a challenge. But for now, Alex had survived the first trial. He had fixed the unfixable, dared to speak when no one else would, and earned a measure of respect from the most powerful being in the galaxy. As the light of the twin suns filtered through the palace windows, Alex allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. This was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of problems and mysteries, and if humans could step into this hall and correct what the greatest engineers of an alien empire could not, then perhaps the galaxy had yet to see what humanity was truly capable of. The grand hall had returned to its calm state, but a different kind of tension lingered in the air. Alien attendants moved quietly, their whispers echoing through the high ceiling. Some looked at Alex with curiosity, others with doubt. No one could ignore the fact that a human had dared to step forward and correct a malfunction that even the most advanced alien engineers had failed to fix. Alex remained near the conduit, his hands resting lightly on the polished metal. He had a sense of satisfaction, but he knew this was only the beginning. The aliens might respect his action, but admiration could quickly turn to skepticism. Their society valued precision, hierarchy, and centuries of tradition. A human challenging that order even by fixing a machine was unprecedented. A soft chime echoed through the hall, announcing the arrival of Queen Zirath. Her presence was magnetic. The room seemed to shift slightly as her long, iridescent robes flowed over the polished floor. Her multiple eyes, each a different color, fixed on Alex with intensity. He straightened, his mind alert. "You have shown skill," the Queen said, her voice resonant and calm. "But I wish to understand your reasoning." "Tell me, human, why did you act the way you did?" Alex took a breath and spoke clearly. "Your Majesty, when I noticed the conduit's energy ring was out of phase, I realized that hesitation would worsen the problem. I used what I knew about patterns, energy flow, and timing to correct it. I did not act recklessly, but I acted quickly." The Queen's gaze sharpened as if analyzing his very soul. Around the hall, alien engineers whispered in a mixture of disbelief and intrigue. They were trained to follow protocol, to consult councils, to calculate every move before acting. Yet Alex had done the opposite, yet successfully. One of the senior engineers, a tall alien with pale violet skin, stepped forward. "Your actions, and they are unusual," he said carefully. "Humans do not always follow logic as we understand it. How can we trust such methods?" Alex smiled slightly, knowing that doubt was natural. Because logic can take many forms. What seems unusual to you is simply a different way of seeing the same problem. The conduit needed a precise adjustment. I observed, understood, and acted. The result proves the method. The Queen tilted her head. Interesting. You see patterns where others see only rules. You act when others hesitate. Tell me, human, do all humans think this way? Alex shook his head. No, Your Majesty. Every human is different, but we are trained to adapt, to think quickly when circumstances demand it, and to trust both our knowledge and our judgment. The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly, as if considering this carefully. Adaptability, quick judgment, a willingness to act. These are rare qualities even in my empire. Perhaps humans possess potential that has been overlooked. A murmur ran through the council. The senior engineer who had spoken earlier looked conflicted. Tradition dictated that aliens led, humans assisted. Yet Alex's calm confidence and clear reasoning could not be denied. Demonstrate your approach, the Queen commanded. Show us how your human ingenuity works in practice. Alex's heart raced. This was more than a test, it was a challenge. He followed the Queen and her attendants to a secondary energy array, smaller than the main conduit but just as complex. The system was crucial for the palace's energy redistribution, yet it had a series of minor fluctuations that the alien engineers had struggled to correct. Alex knelt beside the array, examining the floating conduits and pulsing energy nodes. His eyes scanned every connection, every subtle flicker. He noticed patterns in the vibrations, slight deviations in timing, and a series of cascading effects that the aliens had overlooked. He spoke quietly, more to himself than anyone else. If I adjust the phase here, and reroute energy through the secondary node, that should stabilize the array. A group of alien engineers crowded around, some skeptical, some curious. One whispered to another, "Do you see what he is doing?" No ritual, no long calculations, yet he seems to know exactly what to do. Alex carefully adjusted a control, rerouting energy in a smooth sequence. He used tools that humans considered basic, metal clamps, wiring calibrators, and simple timing devices, but applied them with precision and logic. Slowly, the energy array stabilized. The pulsing became even, the light steady, and the entire system hummed in perfect harmony. The hall was silent. Then the Queen spoke. "Explain what you have done, human." Alex straightened and gestured toward the array. The fluctuations were caused by a slight misalignment in energy distribution. Your engineers tried to correct individual nodes, but the underlying pattern remained unstable. By observing the cascade and adjusting the flow through a controlled sequence, I was able to stabilize the system. The senior alien engineer's jaw dropped slightly. "Remarkable," he said softly. "It works. Perfectly." The Queen studied Alex carefully, her expression unreadable. "You rely on observation, understanding, and immediate action. You think creatively, yet precisely. This is different from our methods, yet effective." Alex felt a surge of pride tempered by respect. He knew that this was more than just a technical victory. It was a demonstration of humanity's potential in a universe dominated by alien intelligence. "Your ingenuity is clear," the Queen said. "But tell me, human, how do you inspire others? How do you work with a team that may not understand your methods?" Alex smiled slightly. "I listen first, I watch. I learn how others think and what their strengths are. Then I explain clearly and show them the steps. I make sure everyone knows their role. People, or aliens, are more willing to follow when they understand the reasoning, not just the result." The Queen considered this carefully. "Observation, adaptation, communication. A combination of skills your species calls ingenuity. Perhaps humans are underestimated because they are unpredictable, yet your approach demonstrates balance and wisdom." Around the hall, murmurs grew louder. Aliens who had doubted him now looked at Alex with a mix of admiration and respect. Some even nodded subtly, acknowledging that his methods had merit. One of the Queen's advisors, an older alien with eyes that shimmered like liquid silver, spoke cautiously. "Your methods may work in small systems, human, but can they scale? Can your ingenuity survive under the pressure of the galaxy's most complex systems?" Alex's gaze did not waver. "Every problem is a system, no matter its size. The principles are the same. Observe, understand, act, and adapt. If I can prove this here, I can apply it anywhere with the right knowledge and team." The Queen rose, her multiple eyes glimmering. "You speak boldly, human. Boldness, when combined with skill, can lead to greatness. I will consider what you have shown me. But remember, the universe is not forgiving. Ingenuity alone may not be enough. Courage must follow, and action must be precise." Alex nodded, fully aware of the gravity of her words. "I understand, Your Majesty. I am ready to learn, and I will act when needed." For the first time, the Queen's lips curved in a faint expression of approval. Very well. You have earned a measure of my attention, human. Watch closely, for the next challenge may not come from a machine but from the universe itself. As the Queen left the hall, her attendants moving silently behind her, the council dispersed. Alien engineers lingered near Alex, asking questions, studying his methods and taking mental notes. He realized that he had not only repaired a machine, but had also opened a door of respect and curiosity for humans in this alien empire. Later, as Alex walked through the palace corridors, he reflected on what had occurred. His human ingenuity, quick thinking, observation, and action had been enough to challenge centuries of alien tradition. For the first time, he saw a glimpse of humanity's potential in a galaxy that often overlooked them. The universe was vast and full of challenges, but Alex felt ready. If a human could step into the heart of an alien empire and fix what the most advanced engineers could not, then the possibilities were endless, and somewhere, in the heart of the palace, Queen Xerath watched and considered the future. She had seen many species, many minds, but this human, perhaps there was something extraordinary in him and in his kind that even the galaxy's most advanced civilizations could not ignore. The palace was quieter than usual the next morning. The soft hum of the energy conduits filled the halls, but an undercurrent of anticipation flowed among the attendants and engineers. Word had spread of Alex Rains, the human who had dared to fix what even the most skilled alien engineers could not. Even those who initially doubted him whispered cautiously, their curiosity tempered by respect. Alex walked through the corridor toward the throne room, his footsteps echoing on the polished floor. His notebook was tucked under his arm, though he knew he might not need it. Today, he sensed, would not be about fixing machines, but about proving the human mind in ways that machines could not measure. At the entrance of the throne room, the guards, tall and imposing with their metallic armor, stepped aside. Alex paused, taking a deep breath. The Queen's chambers were vast, filled with floating platforms and glowing panels of unknown technology. Yet she waited only for him, seated on her throne, her posture regal and exact. "Human," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "You have shown skill and courage, but intellect alone is not enough to serve in this empire. I wish to understand how your species thinks, how your mind approaches challenges that cannot be solved by observation alone. Will you answer my questions?" Alex nodded respectfully. "Yes, Your Majesty." The Queen rose slowly, her presence filling the room. "I wish to test your reasoning, your creativity, and your ability to lead others. First, tell me, how do humans solve problems when faced with unknown technology?" Alex considered this carefully. "We observe carefully, identify patterns, and then experiment in small, controlled ways. We combine knowledge, intuition, and teamwork. We make mistakes, but we learn from them quickly and adjust our approach. The goal is to find solutions, not to follow tradition blindly." The Queen's multiple eyes studied him intensely. "Observation and experimentation, efficient yet risky. How do you know which risks are worth taking?" "Experience helps, Your Majesty," Alex replied. "We evaluate what is likely to succeed, what could cause harm, and what can be corrected if it fails. We take calculated risks because standing still or waiting too long can make problems worse." A slight murmur spread through the chamber. Some alien attendants whispered to each other, their voices full of curiosity and astonishment. Humans, they realized, approach problems differently than any species they had known. They were unpredictable, but effective. "Interesting," the Queen said. "Now imagine you must lead a group of beings who are more powerful, more skilled, and more knowledgeable than you. How would you ensure cooperation and success?" Alex paused. Leadership was familiar to him from his work on Earth, but this scenario was extreme. He chose his words carefully. "I would first listen and observe," he said. "I would learn each member's strengths and weaknesses, understand their way of thinking, and then assign roles that match their abilities. I would communicate clearly, showing them why each action is necessary and how it contributes to success. I would lead by example, demonstrating trust and competence, not by force or authority alone." The Queen's lips curled in what might be considered a faint smile. "You speak of empathy, logic, and courage. These qualities are rare, even among my most accomplished ministers. Yet you possess them naturally. Tell me, human, how do you handle failure?" Alex took a deep breath. "We treat failure as a lesson, not as an end. We analyze what went wrong, adjust our methods, and try again. Failure is part of learning. Fear of failure is worse than failure itself. The Queen's gaze softened slightly. You are thoughtful. Your species may be underestimated because you appear fragile and unstructured. Yet your mind contains the capacity to adapt and overcome challenges that many others cannot. She gestured toward a floating console that displayed simulations of complex energy grids, star systems, and planetary shields. I wish to test you with a real scenario, human. Observe this simulation. It is a system under stress, destabilized by multiple factors. You must stabilize it using the tools and knowledge available. Explain your approach as you proceed. Alex stepped closer, examining the holographic projections. Lines of energy pulsed erratically, nodes flashing red and yellow, indicating overloads and potential collapse. It was far more complex than anything he had faced on Earth, or even in the palace. He studied the simulation carefully, noting patterns in the surges and cascading failures. His mind worked methodically, weighing options, predicting outcomes, and identifying small adjustments that could restore balance. First, he said, pointing to a series of nodes, I would redirect energy here to prevent overload. Then I would stabilize the secondary nodes to ensure the system maintains balance while compensating for fluctuations. Finally, I would monitor feedback and adjust continuously until stability is achieved. The Queen's multiple eyes followed his movements. Explain why you would act in this sequence rather than attempting a simultaneous correction. Alex paused, considering the logic. Simultaneous correction increases the risk of unintended interactions. Adjusting sequentially allows observation and control, reducing the chance of cascading errors. It also gives the team time to respond and adapt. A group of alien engineers observed silently, impressed despite themselves. They had never seen a human demonstrate such careful reasoning in real time with unfamiliar technology. His methods were unorthodox yet effective. The simulation responded as Alex predicted. The surges began to stabilize, the nodes returning to steady energy flow. Red flashes became yellow, then green. The system, which had teetered on collapse, hummed steadily, balanced and secure. The Queen leaned forward slightly. Remarkable. You assess, prioritize, and act. You understand both immediate problems and their long-term effects. Yet this was a simulation. Real challenges are not so controlled. How would you handle unexpected variables in an uncontrolled environment? Alex's gaze did not falter. By remaining calm, observing changes, and adapting quickly, I would use available knowledge, communicate with the team, and apply creative solutions as needed. Flexibility is key. No plan survives every variable, so the ability to adjust is as important as the plan itself. The Queen rose fully from her throne, moving closer. You speak of courage, clarity, and collaboration. These are qualities my empire values, yet you demonstrate them naturally. Most humans might be unprepared for the pressures of leadership in a galaxy of complex systems, yet you show readiness. A hush fell over the chamber. Aliens who had doubted him before now regarded Alex with a mixture of awe and curiosity. Some were already questioning their assumptions about humanity. Very well, human, the Queen continued. Your intellect is clear. Your courage is evident. Your capacity to inspire and lead is promising. Yet I must test your judgment further. The next challenge will not be a simulation. You will lead a team to stabilize a volatile system beyond this palace. Failure will have consequences. Are you prepared to accept responsibility? Alex's chest tightened, but his voice was steady. I am, Your Majesty. I will do my best, and I will ensure my team succeeds. The Queen studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Finally, she nodded. Good. You will depart at dawn. Prepare yourself. Your actions will shape the perception of humans in my empire, and perhaps beyond. As Alex left the throne room, the weight of the Queen's words settled on him. This was no longer about proving skill with machines. It was about showing humanity's potential on a larger scale, about leading and inspiring others in situations of uncertainty and danger. He knew the journey ahead would test every lesson he had learned on Earth, every principle he had applied in the palace. But he also knew that humans had a unique strength, the ability to act boldly, think creatively, and adapt when others faltered. In the quiet corridors, Alex allowed himself a small moment of reflection. He had passed the first informal test, earning the Queen's attention and respect. The next trial would be far more challenging, and failure was not an option. Yet for the first time in the galaxy far from Earth, he felt truly confident in humanity's place among the stars. The next morning, as twin suns rose over the palace, Alex prepared for his first real test, a mission beyond the palace into a system in turmoil. The aliens he would lead were skilled, cautious, and experienced. He would need to earn their trust and guide them through uncertainty. And somewhere in the palace, Queen Zereth observed, her expression thoughtful. Humanity had proven capable, but the true test was yet to come. Only time would reveal if this human could lead in the face of real danger, and if the unpredictable nature of humanity would become a strength or a liability. The stars stretched endlessly as the research vessel hovered near the edge of a volatile star system. The ship's hull shimmered with alien technology, a mix of polished alloys and energy fields. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with tension. Alien engineers moved with precise coordination, checking panels, recalibrating instruments, and murmuring technical commands in their melodic language. At the center of the bridge, Alex Rains stood quietly observing the crew. Today he was no longer an observer in the palace. Today he was a leader, responsible for guiding a team of beings far more powerful, experienced, and skilled than himself. The weight of that responsibility pressed against his chest, but he felt ready. His time in the palace, demonstrating human ingenuity and quick thinking, had prepared him for this moment. Queen Zereth's words echoed in his mind. Your actions will shape the perception of humans in my empire and perhaps beyond. Failure was not an option. Status report, Alex said, his voice calm but authoritative. The alien chief engineer, a tall being with luminous purple skin, stepped forward. Energy grid is unstable, Commander. Multiple nodes are fluctuating. A storm of high-energy particles is approaching. If we do not stabilize the grid, the entire system may collapse. Alex nodded, taking a deep breath. Then let's begin. Everyone, follow my instructions carefully. We work as one team. Each of you has strengths, use them. Trust each other. Trust the plan. We start with the outer nodes and work inward, controlling the flow of energy step by step. Some of the alien engineers glanced at each other nervously. They were used to strict hierarchies, to following orders from those of equal or higher rank. Now a human, smaller, less experienced in their technology, was directing them. A few skeptics grumbled under their breath, but Alex ignored it. Confidence and clarity could inspire more than force or authority. He moved to the main console and projected a holographic map of the system. Red and yellow pulses indicated instability, while green lines marked areas already stabilized. He pointed to the first critical node. This node is the source of cascading errors, he explained. We will reroute its energy to the stabilizers here and here. Follow my timing cues exactly. Adjustments must be precise but not rushed. One misstep could create a feedback loop. The engineers began their work, their hands moving over panels with practiced skill. Alex coordinated each action, giving clear instructions, predicting interactions, and adjusting plans as needed. Minutes passed, tension building with every pulse of energy. The storm outside intensified, visible as bright streaks of particles across the vessel's viewports. A sudden surge hit the first node, causing alarms to blare. Steady, Alex called. Compensate through the secondary channels. Focus on stabilization, not speed. The team followed his directions, and slowly the red pulses diminished. One by one, nodes turned yellow, then green. The system began to hum in a more stable rhythm. The storm was still fierce, but for the first time the crew felt a measure of control. The alien chief engineer glanced at Alex, surprise evident in his luminous eyes. You are correct, he said softly. We would have reacted differently, perhaps too late. Your sequence works? Alex allowed himself a small smile, though his attention never wavered from the array. We work together. I guide, but each of you is essential. Focus on the next node. Time stretched as they moved through the system, stabilizing one node after another. Alex relied on the principles that had guided him on Earth and in the palace. Observation, pattern recognition, calculated risk, and constant adjustment. Halfway through the mission, a major node began to surge violently, threatening to overload the grid. The aliens hesitated, unsure of how to respond. Alex stepped forward, his mind working quickly. Divert the energy to the auxiliary stabilizers here and here, he instructed. Monitor the feedback and adjust in real time. Don't try to predict every outcome, react to what you observe. It was a bold move, risky even by human standards. But the team trusted him. Together, they executed the plan. The surge stabilized, the node glowing green once again. Cheers echoed quietly across the bridge, a mixture of relief and astonishment. Alex allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction. The team was responding, learning to trust his methods, and the system was gradually becoming stable. Yet the storm outside had not yet passed. High-energy particle streams struck the vessel repeatedly, causing minor system failures and forcing rapid adjustments. Alex's calm, methodical guidance kept the team focused. "Adjust the shields," he said. "Redistribute energy from the primary generators to compensate for fluctuations. Keep nodes stable first, then focus on efficiency." The aliens moved swiftly following his instructions. Alex's leadership style was unfamiliar but effective. He demonstrated trust, communicated clearly, and remained calm under pressure, a combination that inspired confidence. Hours passed, the storm relentless. Fatigue began to set in, but Alex encouraged the crew. "We are halfway there," he said. "Every small success matters. Focus on one node at a time. We will stabilize this system." Finally, the last major node remained. The storm was strongest here, energy surges threatening to overwhelm the stabilizers. Alien engineers glanced at each other, concern evident in their eyes. Alex stepped forward. "This is the critical point," he said. "We follow the sequence exactly. Timing is essential. Trust your instincts, but rely on the plan. We can do this together." The team moved in perfect synchrony, adjusting conduits, monitoring feedback, and compensating for the storm's interference. Alex guided them step by step, giving instructions and encouragement. The node pulsed violently, then slowly, steadily, began to stabilize. Green light spread across the system map. The energy grid hummed in harmony. The storm's impact lessened, and the vessel's shields held firm. A cheer erupted on the bridge, though restrained by alien custom. Engineers who had doubted Alex now looked at him with awe and respect. He had led them through chaos, inspired trust, and demonstrated human ingenuity under extreme conditions. The chief engineer approached him. "Human, your leadership has proven invaluable. I did not believe it possible. You have earned the crew's respect and saved this system." Alex nodded humbly. "We all contributed. Each of you played a critical role. Leadership is about guiding, not doing everything alone." The vessel moved away from the storm, entering calmer space. Outside, the stars stretched in quiet beauty, the chaos of the system behind them. Inside, the crew began recovery procedures, repairing minor damages and monitoring the grid for stability. Later, in the observation deck, Alex allowed himself a moment to reflect. This mission had been more than a test of skill. It had been a test of trust, collaboration, and courage. Humans had often been underestimated, seen as weaker or less capable by advanced alien civilizations. Yet here, in the heart of a dangerous star system, Alex had proven that humanity could act decisively, think creatively, and lead when others hesitated. Somewhere far away, in the palace, Queen Zyreth observed through remote feeds. Her expression was thoughtful. Alex had succeeded where others might have failed. He had shown the potential of human ingenuity and adaptability. Yet she knew this was only the beginning. The universe was full of challenges, and the true test of humanity's worth would come when the stakes were even higher. For Alex, however, there was a quiet sense of accomplishment. He had led a team of skilled aliens through a dangerous mission and emerged victorious. The system was stable, the crew's trust in him solidified, and humanity's reputation in this alien empire had been elevated. He knew the journey was far from over. More challenges awaited, some technological, some political, some cosmic. But for the first time in his life, Alex felt that humans could not only survive among the stars, they could thrive. As the vessel moved toward its next destination, Alex prepared for whatever came next. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, but he had proven one undeniable truth. When humans dared to act, to think, and to lead, even the most advanced civilizations had reason to take notice. The research vessel moved through calm space, but the calm was deceptive. The sensors indicated that the energy grid Alex and his team had stabilized was now facing a far more dangerous challenge. A cosmic storm, larger and more unpredictable than any they had seen, was approaching the system. The storm's energy waves threatened to disrupt the delicate balance they had worked so hard to achieve. Inside the bridge, Alex Rains studied the system map carefully. His hands moved over the controls, adjusting energy flows, monitoring shields, and tracking every node in the grid. Alien engineers stood around him, their expressions tense. They were skilled, powerful, and cautious, but even they were impressed by Alex's calm confidence. "Commander," the chief engineer said, his voice steady but edged with concern, "the storm is intensifying faster than predicted. If it hits the grid directly, it could collapse the entire system. We need a plan now." Alex took a deep breath, his mind racing through possibilities. "We will combine human adaptability with your technology," he said. "We cannot stop the storm, but we can redirect energy, reinforce key nodes, and stabilize critical points. Everyone follow my instructions exactly, and we will succeed." The engineers exchanged glances. Leading aliens through a storm of this magnitude was unprecedented. Yet they trusted Alex, because he had already proven himself during the previous mission. "Focus on the outer nodes first," Alex instructed, projecting a holographic map of the grid. "Divert excess energy to the auxiliary stabilizers. Keep the central nodes balanced, but do not overcompensate. Timing and precision are crucial." The storm's first surge hit. Energy waves rippled across the system, nodes flashing red as alarms blared. Alex's hands moved swiftly, coordinating the team. "Adjust here. Compensate there. Keep the flow steady." For hours, the vessel battled the storm. Energy surges came from multiple directions, forcing constant adjustments. Alex's calm guidance kept the team focused. He relied on principles that had guided him from the palace to this moment: observation, pattern recognition, adaptation, and trust in the team. A sudden, massive surge struck the central node. The lights on the bridge flickered and a loud alarm echoed. Alien engineers froze momentarily, unsure how to respond. Alex stepped forward, his mind working rapidly. "Divert all excess energy to the auxiliary grid," he commanded. "Do not panic. Follow my timing cues exactly. Watch each node, adjust as needed, and communicate immediately any changes." The team moved in unison, their skills precise and synchronized. Alex monitored feedback, anticipating fluctuations and making small corrections before they became dangerous. Slowly, the central node stabilized, green lights replacing red. The storm raged on, but the crew's confidence grew. They had begun to trust not just the plan, but Alex himself. His human ingenuity, his ability to act quickly, adapt, and lead under pressure was now undeniable. Hours passed. The storm's waves struck repeatedly, testing the limits of the vessel and the grid. Alex remained calm, coordinating each adjustment, communicating clearly and inspiring the crew to perform at their best. Finally, the last surge approached, a massive wave of energy that could have destroyed the system if mismanaged. Alex analyzed it carefully. He had only one chance to stabilize the nodes and redirect the energy without overloading the grid. "Everyone, focus," he shouted. "This is the critical moment. Follow the sequence exactly. Trust the plan. Trust each other." The crew moved as one, adjusting conduits, redistributing energy, and monitoring feedback. Alex predicted the wave's path, rerouting energy with split-second timing. The surge hit, nodes pulsing violently, alarms screaming, but the team executed perfectly. Slowly, the energy stabilized. The storm passed, leaving the system intact. The nodes glowed steadily, the grid humming in perfect harmony. A wave of relief and awe swept through the bridge. Engineers who had once doubted Alex now looked at him with admiration and respect. The chief engineer approached him, eyes shimmering. "Human, you have done what we thought impossible. You led us through chaos, and we succeeded because of your guidance. Your species is capable of more than I imagined." Alex nodded humbly. "We all succeeded together. Every one of you played a critical role. Leadership is not about doing everything alone. It's about guiding, inspiring, and trusting your team." Outside the vessel, the stars stretched in quiet brilliance. The cosmic storm had passed, leaving the system stable and intact. Inside, the crew prepared for post-storm checks, monitoring the grid and repairing minor damage. Later, Alex stood in the observation deck, reflecting on what had happened. This mission had tested every skill he possessed: knowledge, creativity, courage, and leadership. Humans had often been underestimated by advanced civilizations, But here, among beings of incredible skill and power, Alex had proven that humanity could act decisively, think creatively, and lead when others hesitated. Somewhere far away, Queen Xyrith observed through her remote channels. Her expression was unreadable at first, then softened slightly. Alex had succeeded where others might have failed. He had shown that humans were not just clever, they were capable of leadership, courage, and ingenuity on a galactic scale. A comm signal from the Queen arrived. Alex answered immediately, standing at attention. "Human," her voice resonated through the deck. "I have observed your actions. You have led a team of beings far more advanced than your species, and succeeded where failure would have been disastrous. You have demonstrated courage, ingenuity, and leadership. Humanity has earned a measure of respect in my empire." Alex felt a surge of pride and humility. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I could not have done it without the team. They trusted me and I trusted them. That made all the difference." The Queen's eyes gleamed. "Indeed. Trust, coordination, courage, these are qualities rare in any species. You have proven that humans possess them in abundance. Your actions today will be remembered. Your species has a future in the galaxy, not just as participants but as contributors, innovators, and leaders." The message ended, leaving Alex with a profound sense of achievement. He knew that this recognition was more than personal. It was a symbol for humanity. The universe had seen what humans could do when given the chance. Act boldly, think creatively, and lead with courage. In the quiet moments that followed, Alex allowed himself a small smile. The mission had tested him in ways he could never have imagined, but he had emerged stronger, more confident, and more aware of humanity's potential. The alien crew, once skeptical, now looked at him with admiration. Some whispered to each other, acknowledging that humans, unpredictable as they were, could excel in situations that even the most advanced species might fail to navigate. As the vessel moved toward calmer sectors of space, Alex prepared for the next steps. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown systems, challenges, and opportunities. But he had proven one undeniable truth. When humans dared to act, to think, and to lead, even the most powerful civilizations had reason to take notice. Later, when the team returned to the palace, the reception was unlike any Alex had ever experienced. The Queen personally commended him in the main hall, her presence commanding as ever. Alien engineers and ministers, who had once doubted his abilities, now bowed in acknowledgement of his achievements. "You have shown us something remarkable, human," the Queen said. "Your species' courage, ingenuity, and adaptability are now undeniable. You have earned a place in this empire not as a subordinate, but as an equal, a symbol of what humanity can achieve." Alex stood quietly, humbled by her words. He realized that this moment was bigger than himself. It was about humanity's place in the galaxy, about proving that humans could rise to challenges and make a meaningful impact among beings far more advanced in technology and knowledge. The Queen's eyes met his, a faint smile crossing her face. "I will observe your future endeavors with great interest. The universe is vast and many trials await, but you, human, have shown that when your species dares to step forward, greatness is possible." As the hall filled with the quiet hum of alien technology, Alex felt a sense of purpose. Humanity had been underestimated for too long, and now, in the presence of one of the galaxy's most powerful beings, it had a voice. Not just a voice of observation, but a voice of action, innovation, and courage. He looked around at the gathered aliens, then up at the Queen, and knew that this was only the beginning. The universe had witnessed humanity's potential, and now it could not be ignored. Alex allowed himself one final thought as he gazed out at the stars beyond the palace windows. The human spirit, bold, inventive, and unyielding, had the power to shape the future of the galaxy. And as long as humans were willing to act, to think, and to lead, nothing could stop them. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had proven its worth, and Alex Rains, the human who dared to answer when all others remained silent, had become the symbol of a species ready to rise among the stars.